What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Nerdy Mark channel. I am Sid the Nerdy Mark. Today is my review of AEW Dynamite and NXT. I know I'm just recording this on a Friday. I was a little bit busy throughout this whole week. Hence, also I was supposed to be on DJ Storms' Worlds Collide, rundown. I wasn't able to do that because I did have other commitments and things of that nature. So some stuff came up and everything, but everything's cool. Everything's fine. This Saturday is Worlds Collide. I will be reviewing it with Armbar Audio as part of Armbar Nerds. It'll be on their channel. Be on the lookout for that. And also during the Royal Rumble, I'm going to try. Okay. Well, no. During the Royal Rumble, I'll be able to do it. During the Royal Rumble, I am going to be reacting, as I did last year, to the men's and women's Rumble matches. Now, the only difference is I'm going to be doing it on my Instagram, so follow me on Instagram at Sids500. It's literally on the end of every video that I've made, maybe except this one because it's going to be just a raw upload, but it's going to be in the description, so you can take a look at that. But follow me on Instagram. So this weekend, this Sunday, I will be going live twice. Once for the women's Rumble, one for the men's Rumble. So I will be doing that. Because the last time I did it on YouTube, I got a copyright strike for one of my I think it was the women's Rumble. I got a copyright strike for that. So that was interesting. That was fun. So I don't want that, right? So that's one good thing. One more thing, I got a new chair. That's right. No more that plastic white chair. I can actually swivel around, roll around like this, and do what I got to do. So that's pretty cool. But anyway, let's kind of dive right into this week's flagship shows, AEW and NXT, and we'll start with AEW Dynamite. And guess what? I took notes this time. Isn't that awesome? Anyway, so let's begin with the first match. It was, of course, Kenny Omega and Adam Page taking on SCU for the AEW Tag Team titles. This was, first of all, a fantastic match. I loved every bit of it. Let's just a couple of spots that I want to talk about. First of all, Paige and Kenny do seem to be off to a pretty good start. They seem to be working really well in this match. And, SCU do absolutely put up a great effort this time, too. Put up a fight. They're an undeniable tag team. A You Can't Escape combo by Omega and Page. When Omega does the You Can't Escape, does the little roll, goes up to the top rope. Page comes in, does the little standing moonsault, and then Kenny follows up with a moonsault of his own. That was pretty cool. I like that. Then Page did dive into Kazarian onto the outside, and it led to an amazing sequence by Scorpio and Kenny. I would very much love to see these two in a singles match because I think they would be so awesome. They may have done it before, but I'm not sure. Someone, if you know, leave it in the comments. If Scorpio Sky and Kenny Omega have wrestled before, just let me know. But anyway, Kenny with a Snapdragon Suplex City to SCU. Then Kenny did accidentally eat a buckshot lariat once again from Adam Page, but Page does break up the pin attempt after they hit the SCU did capitalize on it, and they hit the SCU later. But Page did break up that pin, so he kind of redeemed himself a little bit. Buckshot to Scorpio on the outside, and then one to Frankie in the ring to win the match. So Kenny Omega and Adam Page are your new AEW Tag Team Champions. Page goes on to the crowd, drinks the fans' beer, and crowd surfs all the way to the entrance ramp. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, Dynamite was coming to us from the Chris Jericho's Rock and Wrestling Rager. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty awesome that they have it on a ship. And there's actually on Twitter, a lot of awesome videos of Jon Moxley singing karaoke are coming out, and if you haven't watched them, just go look them up. They're probably on YouTube, or go to Twitter. Just check them out. It's wholesome content. I love it. Then we have the debuting Priscilla Kelly taking on Britt Baker. She is, of course, Mrs. Darby Allin, as you might know. Priscilla Kelly, this is her first match, singles match. She was in the Casino Battle Royal at All Out, but she is taking on Britt Baker, DMD, baby. And there is a lot of Rest Hold City in this match. And by the way, real quick, if I say Rest Hold City, I'm not necessarily saying that it's a bad thing. I'm just saying that there's a lot of Rest Holds in this match. But Pretty slow-paced match, honestly. Nothing to write home about. Again, the women's division, they need to do something about it. It's severely lacking. So, like, please, okay? Britt does continue her transition into a heel. She does that later on. We'll talk about it. Then Sling Blade by Britt Baker, which doesn't look nearly as smooth or clean as Finn Balor's or even Pentagon's. Then Kelly did go for a knee but missed, allowing Britt Baker to hit a super kick, and then a Russian leg sweep by Britt Baker, and getting Kelly into the lockjaw. Kelly taps. Britt Baker wins. After the match, Tony Schiavone tries to get a word in with Britt Baker, but she basically cuts a heel promo on Tony Schiavone, saying that she's very proud of him for basically leaving his job at Starbucks to do wrestling commentating. And to Tony Schiavone, you can see him mouthing WTF. This was good. This was funny. But Britt Baker, she cuts a heel promo. It sucks. It wasn't really good. By the way, in case you forgot, she's a dentist. You know, I didn't know if any of you forgot, but Britt Baker reminded us all that she's a dentist. So just remember, she's a dentist. Did you remember? Do you know that Britt Baker's a dentist? If you don't, yeah. Did you know she's a dentist? Anyway, you see what I'm saying? It's annoying. Like, yes, you're a dentist. Good for you. You're a full-time dentist and a pro wrestler. That's awesome. Good for you, but you don't need to keep bringing it up. Anyway, and the promo was cut off halfway into commercial break, which was kind of dumb. I didn't really like that. But yeah, this whole affair was a bit of a mess, and I really didn't like it. I'd love to very much forget and move on to the next match, which was Jurassic Express taking on the Inner Circle. And in contrast to the previous match, this was actually a really good match as well. A very fun match here. We had when Jericho did, so Inner Circle was represented by Chris Jericho and then Santana and Ortiz. Chris Jericho came out and everyone was singing his theme. That was awesome. I loved it. Jungle Boy and Chris Jericho do start things off, and Jericho does slap him, and it's a show of disrespect. Ortiz and Jungle Boy then have a nice little sequence, which was really cool. Then Ortiz, of course, hits the Tiger Claws onto the back of Jungle Boy. That's his thing. I love Ortiz, by the way. He's an amazing heel. I think that Santana and Ortiz are extremely polar opposites, but they complement each other so well, and I just love it. Really makes me want to, really does make me regret that I never watched their time as LAX. But anyway, if you know any good LAX matches or Santana and Ortiz matches, comment section below, please and thank you. Anyway, and Ortiz, by the way, that man sells like no one's business. Like, if you think Dolph Ziggler sells pretty good, I don't know, man. Ortiz gives that man a run for his money, I'll tell you that. But a good triple team by Jurassic Express. Good stuff here. Luchasaurus basically no-sells Santana's offense throughout this match, which was cool. Hager then... Oh, wait, no, not before that. There was a double choke slam and standing moonsault by Luchasaurus, which looked awesome. Luchasaurus is sorely underrated, by the way, as a Scorpio Sky. Scorpio Sky, his match with Jericho was good, but seriously, give that man a title. Anyway, like a singles title, that is. And then later on, Hager did interfere, and Luchasaurus and Hager do fight up into the entrance ramp and towards the back and whatnot. Marco then hit a 450 splash onto Chris Jericho, and then those two men have a really awesome sequence as well. But finally, Jericho does hit the Judas effect on Stunt and pins him for the win. Another awesome match. Good win for it makes sense. It's his cruise. It's his boat. He obviously should be winning. But yeah, great match here. Really liked it. Moving on to Joey Janela versus MJF. So, of course, MJF did call him Jelly Janela, so that was cool. Continuing to show that he's a fantastic heel. Some good chain wrestling to start us off. Janela, by the way, has braids, which looked really cool. Again, hashtag Janela is God. MJF does go out of the ring. Joey does follow him and gets an eye rake for his troubles. MJF then runs in, but then gets thrown into the ring by Joey Janela, which looked nice. MJF then uses Audrey Edwards as a shield, but a superplex by Janela was good stuff. And it looks like Janela's got this match won, but then Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford come onto the entrance ramp and they share a big kiss. Where have we seen this before? This allows MJF to capitalize. He hits the double cross, which is his version of the crossroads, to win the match, after which he cuts a promo on Cody in response, basically having the line of the night saying that you are right, I am just a chapter in your book, but I am the last chapter in your book. That was pretty cool. I like that. Cody does eventually come out, and MJF continues to remind him that he can't touch him. He's so much so that Wardlow isn't even with him to kind of enforce that, because he accepted those terms. He basically gives the mic to Cody for Cody to respond, but he drops it and kicks it off as more of a show of disrespect. He's walking away, but then Cody picks up the mic. He says, "Hey, MJF, I can't touch you, but they can." And MJF turns around. It's the Young Bucks, and they give him a super kick party and throw him into the pool. That was great. And MJF, I have learned, cannot swim. So, yeah, that was good, but I liked it. I love this whole affair. Good stuff. Decent match. It's a little gutted that Janela lost, but hey, it is what it is. But I guess they have to build up MJF for Revolution, so I understand why. It's not, you don't have to explain. Now it's time for our main event. We do have One-Eyed Jon Moxley. We have Captain Jon Moxley versus Pac. But Jon Moxley does have his eye patch on. So yeah, it was good stuff. Chris Jericho does come back out to replace Excalibur on commentary. Then a lot of good chain wrestling here, including some Rest Hold City by both men, mainly Pac. Chops by Moxley to Pac, followed by a released German suplex. Then Pac does liberally target the eye, that's like his main focus is his eye, which makes a lot of sense. Then a shotgun dropkick by Pac. Mox then responded with a clothesline. Pac hits a jawbreaker while jamming his head into Mox's injured eye. He literally took his head and put it on, kind of basically had it rest on Mox's eye, and then boom, hit the jawbreaker. That looked really painful. Pac then went for a brutalizer, but Mox did convert it into a cover. That was good stuff, despite his handicap. Mox then blocks a Black Arrow by getting the knees up and goes for the rear naked choke again, the same move he used to beat Sammy Guevara. Then Pac misses the Black Arrow one more time. Pac also then kicked out of a paradigm shift, and Pac gets a superplex and gets Mox in a brutalizer once again. But Mox does get his foot onto the rope. Pac rips off the bandage off of Mox and hits him in the injured eye one more time. But finally, the match does end with a paradigm shift plus Death Rider. I am going to call it the Death Rider because that's what the move is called. I mean, I know that's what it's called in New Japan, but it just sounds cool anyway. But yeah, Pac hit a paradigm shift and then a lifted up and kind of an elevated paradigm shift, which again, the Death Rider, to win the match. And afterwards, Jericho and Moxley share a nice little stare down. And AEW ends with Jon Moxley basically doing his best Finn Balor impression and pointing his finger gun at Chris Jericho. It's kind of really badass when Jon Moxley does it and Finn Balor. Yeah, anyway. So, good showing by AEW. Great stuff here on the cruise. Great set. All that good stuff. I'll talk about matches of the night at the end. But let's move on to NXT, also a very solid show. We start off with the first match in the Dusty Rhodes Classic, the first semifinals match in the Dusty Rhodes Classic, the Undisputed Era, Fish and O'Reilly taking on the Grizzled Young Veterans in a decent match. O'Reilly and Gibson do start off with some chain wrestling as well. You notice a theme here, but O'Reilly then hits a dragon screw on James Drake while he's being distracted by Bobby Fish on the apron. UE hits a snap suplex onto Drake. They did a double snap suplex. Good tandem offense by the Grizzled Young Veterans as well. Then of course a lot of Rest Hold City in this for a little bit. Adam Cole and Bebe and Roderick Strong, who is actually set to defend his North American title against Keith Lee later on that night, are both at ringside, and Cole does distract the ref, allowing Undisputed Era to get the advantage. Then Gibson hits a Mercy side drop onto Fish, who converts it into a knee bar. That was pretty awesome. Then James Drake does help Gibson get to the ropes, though, so that's cool. Fish misses a moonsault, then UE hit a chasing the dragon onto Gibson, but a pop out roundhouse and high-low by Undisputed Era. That's what I thought. Then it looks like Undisputed Era have the match won, but Imperium are on the little perch on top of the entrance ramp, and they're all, standing, doing their little pose like that, and distracting the Undisputed Era. This allows really young veterans to take advantage and win the match, and they proceed to the finals of the Dusty Rhodes Classic. Now, we then had a Shotzi Blackheart promo. She did eliminate Shayna Baszler in that women's battle royal last week, or was it last week. So that was cool, and she will be taking on Shayna Baszler later on tonight. We'll talk about that in just a sec. Next up, we did have Toni Storm versus Io Shirai in a pretty decent match. Io with flips and a drop kick to start things off. Then Toni does try to slow the pace down. Shirai hits a submission on her. Io does convert it into a snapmare. Or was it Io? I wrote Shirai with a submission. Io converts it into a snapmare. I meant Toni converted it into a snapmare. I apologize. Rest hold city again. Shirai then hit a bunch of strikes on Toni and brought her down. That was cool. But Io does evade a Storm Zero, but responds with a crap ton of forearms. Oh, excuse me. See, this is the stuff that I edit out on my videos, so you get to see the raw and uncut version. So congratulations. Anyway, then Storm did block a Tiger Feint kick and throws Io out of the ring. And in the middle of the match, Bianca Belair interferes and takes out both women. Rhea Ripley comes in to join the fray. They both have a fight, but finally Io Shirai takes both Ripley and Belair out, and then with a moonsault, and then finally Toni Storm with a suicide dive to the outside, taking out all three women. Toni Storm then picks up the title and poses with it because obviously she is facing off against Rhea Ripley at Worlds Collide. By the way, I do have my predictions ready to go. I will post them on Twitter and Instagram, so be on the lookout for that. Okay, I'm not gonna do predictions here because I want to get this out as soon as possible. But anyway, decent stuff here, but do wish that this match went on a little longer, and we didn't really have interference. I think this should just been a plain old match. But hey, it is what it is. So we then get an Ilya Dragunov promo responding to Finn Balor. This was good. This is the match that actually has me very intrigued. I'm pretty sure this is going to be the sleeper hit of Worlds Collide. So I'm excited for this one. This is a match that I never thought that I wanted until we got it. So good on NXT for that. Speaking of the Devil, we do have the Prince, I guess. We have Finn Balor taking on Joaquin Wilde. I still don't get the whole X thing next to the C, so is it pranks now? I don't know. Anyway, Balor does waste no time in putting down Wilde. Takes out the anger he has for Gargano and Dragunov onto Wilde. Shows a lot of aggression, and basically he basically says, "This is for anyone who wants to step up to me," or something like that. And he's basically focused more on Dragunov and Gargano, but obviously he does make pretty quick work of Joaquin Wilde. John Woo drop kick by Balor, which is basically a shotgun drop kick, followed by coup de grace, and then Finn Balor says, "You come at Finn, you better not miss." Then he hits a 1916 to win the match. This was fine. It was fine for what it was. I get it. They're building up Finn towards the eventual match at Worlds Collide. Again, this is a match that I'm actually very excited for. I think that, like I said, this is probably going to be the sleeper hit of Worlds Collide, and that's all I got to say. So let's move on. We did get a good package with DIY. Mustache Mountain had a package later on, so that was pretty cool. Then we have Shayna Baszler taking on Shotzi Blackheart. Shayna Baszler basically does say that she's not going anywhere and she's trying to become Shayna 3-time. We'll see. Anyway, Shayna Baszler does get the advantage early on in the match. Keeps patting Blackheart on the head to show a little bit of disrespect, or saying, hey, you're beneath me, basically. Again, rest hold city throughout this match, mainly by Shayna. Shayna does twist Shotzi's arm a little bit. Shotzi gets an elbow and a kick onto Shayna from the middle rope. Then Shotzi does escape a Kirifuda clutch, and both women do exchange forearms for a little bit. but an inverted cannonball to Shayna by Blackheart, that looked really awesome. Then Blackheart then went on to hit a sliced bread number 2 on the apron. That was pretty amazing. This is actually my first time watching Shotzi Blackheart, so I'm very impressed. Again, any of her other matches in the indies, leave them in the comments. So, Blackheart then misses the senton, and that allowed Shayna to lock in the clutch. Shotzi does try to fight it for a little bit, but she does end up tapping. But Shayna does not let go, and only does so when Shotzi Blackheart passes out. This was actually a really good match. I liked it a lot. This was probably one of the best women's matches I've seen so far on NXT. So that was good stuff. I'm not saying it's again, I think the NXT women's division, in contrast to AEW's, is a lot better. And I'm glad that they're giving us matches like this. So that's good stuff. Good on NXT. Then we get a Tegan Nox Dakota Kai promo, which was really good. So next week they will settle up their differences. I don't know why they couldn't wait until TakeOver Portland. I think that's honestly should have been the place to do it. But hey, it is what it is. And then we have the second semifinal match in the Dusty Rhodes Classic. It's the BROserWeights versus Imperium. Speak of the devil, right? The Imperium who we saw earlier on. But this was honestly a much better match than the one that we got in the beginning. I just like this one a lot more. We do have Riddle and Eichner starting things off with a really good sequence until Eichner does tag in Barthel. Then some mat wrestling ensues. Then we have some quick tags by Imperium. That was fine. Riddle hits a Roderick off of Dunn's palms. That actually looked pretty awesome. Riddle with a gut wrench suplex city. Then Barthel blocks a Broton from Matt Riddle. Dunn hits a huge crucifix powerbomb cover, which looked amazing. Then an Arihara moonsault to the outside. I think it was by Dunn. I forgot who it was by. But Dunn and Walter, because Walter and Alexander Wolf are standing out there, much like how Era they had those two guys. Dunn and Walter have a bit of a stare down, because they have history. But this allows Barthel to capitalize and attack Pete Dunne. Then Dunne thwarts a top rope move with an elbow. That was pretty cool. Imperium then beat up on Dunne. That is Eichner and Barthel. Riddle then tags in with kicks. It hits a bunch of kicks and a Superman punch. And Suplex City and Brotons on Imperium. That was awesome. BROserWeights then hits stereo strikes, one inspired by Pete Dunne, one inspired by Matt Riddle. That was really cool. I forgot the name of the kicks. Then a double knee strike by Matt, and then a double team by Imperium, and cover blocked by a knee by Riddle. That's what I wrote. Okay. Then Dunne converts a delayed suplex into a submission, which was pretty awesome. That was pretty awesome. Riddle then gets an ankle lock though onto Barthel while the submission is going on. Riddle and Dunne hit a double spear on, I believe, Eichner, and then jackhammer to Eichner by Matt Riddle. Again, a more ribbing of Goldberg. Then Riddle reverses a European bomb, and then a suplex. He reversed both of them actually. Riddle and Dunne then hit a double team to win, so they finally did hit the double team to win and advance into the Dusty Classic. Grizzled Young Veterans cut a promo. Matt Riddle basically says that you said something about manipulating joints, so I kind of lost it after there. So, great weed reference. Pete Dunne says, while you were floating in the clouds, they were just saying that both of them have lost to me, and we're going to win the Dusty Cup. And it's a pretty standard promo, good stuff. So looking forward to this match. I believe it's next week, which I'm surprised they don't have it on this Saturday at Worlds Collide. I would think that's what you would do, but, whatever. So, hopefully, we'll have that match. So, we'll have that match next week. That should be really cool. And finally, we do get our main event. It is Keith Lee versus Roderick Strong for the NXT North American title. Awesome match here. Undisputed Era are on the outside, obviously, to cheer on Roderick Strong and get involved if needed. Strong then immediately goes for the ankle because Keith Lee's ankle was injured last week. Keith Lee with a huge Beal to Roderick Strong. Then Lee does get distracted by the Era, allowing Strong to attack the ankle again. That's the focal point of this for Roderick Strong. Have you noticed both main events? They have both the heels have a focal point on their opponents or on the baby faces, right? Because Mox is basically a babyface. He's like the Stone Cold Steve Austin babyface. So anyway, So Lee then gets distracted. Okay. Then Strong hits an ankle submission as well, and then a dragon screw onto Lee. Bonsai drop to Lee's ankle. Then Lee drops Strong onto the outside. Then Strong does come back in, hits an ankle lock on Keith Lee. Strong with a drive-by forearms and a kick to the neck, which looked painful. Keith Lee then it's a huge power slam despite his ankle. Then Era roll Strong to the outside. Then Lee brings him in. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Okay, then Cole distracts the ref, allowing the Era to injure Lee's knee once again, giving Strong the advantage. Lee on the top of the rope. Roddy tries to stop it, but is knocked off. Then Strong gets back up on the rope and hits a huge avalanche Olympic slam. That looked really awesome. Then Lee knocks off Strong onto Red Dragon or O'Reilly and Fish. Cole is actually safe at this point because, the whole, that GIF or GIF and all that good stuff. That was awesome. Lee then misses a moonsault, allowing Strong to apply the ankle lock. And then Lee knocks off the Era from the apron, but Strong does capitalize. Strong runs to the ropes for momentum, but Lee catches him into a fireman's jackhammer, and he wins the match and becomes the new North American champion. Looks like there are cracks in the prophecy and possibly cracks in the Undisputed Era camp. So, intriguing. Hopefully this advances the storyline and whatnot. Afterwards, Imperium do come out and they face off against the Era. Obviously Adam Cole faces the chop of death by Walter. Security pulls them apart, and that's how the show ends. So, also a solid show by NXT. Overall, I did think that Dynamite was just a little bit better, not by much, but just a little bit. I found myself a bit more entertained, especially with the whole everything going on between Cody and MJF, as well as the Elite walking on eggshells. A lot of good stuff going on there. I guess the only thing that I have to say, the only set drawback for AEW right now is their women's division. Britt Baker sorely is lacking skills on the microphone. She continued to draw. Again, did you forget she was a dentist? In case you forgot, right? So, yeah, that was there. But other than that, as far as matches go, Kenny and Paige versus SCU was a good match. The Jurassic Express versus Inner Circle was good, and Jon Moxley versus Pac. Those were some good matches on NXT. Shayna Baszler versus Shotzi Blackheart, BROserWeights versus Imperium, the semifinals of the Dusty Classic, as well as Keith Lee versus Roderick Strong for the North American title. All great matches. So that pretty much concludes my review for NXT. Do not forget, like I said, I will be on Armbar Audio after Worlds Collide on Sunday afternoon, I think, and we will be reviewing the show. Don't forget to check out Instagram, where I will be reacting to both Royal Rumble matches on there, so definitely don't forget to check that out. And I forgot, there's something else that I forgot about that I wanted to mention. And also at the end of February, myself and Armbar Audio, we're getting together again, and we're going to talk about our favorite matches of the month. We're going to do this every month. Either it'll be here or it'll be on Armbar Audio. Just be on the lookout. Just stay forward to, stick to our socials for more information. But we will be doing that. That's going to be a lot of fun. That's going to be amazing. But until then, that's all I gotta say. Let me know what you guys thought about AEW and NXT in the comment section below. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on social media, and tell your friends about the Nerdy Mark. This is Sid signing off. I'll see you guys next time. Y'all have a great weekend.